Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. Here we are midweek as we continue our learning. It's a very special day also because the Rav himself, Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, is in town. He's actually going to be visiting our shul today, our yeshiva. What is the chus to have the Rav here in Livingston, New Jersey, as he's in part of a trip here in the New York, New Jersey area, first time ever. But we ask you to please continue davening for Chalei Tzva Gana Yisrael, for Shalom L'chol P'tzua Yisrael, return of our hostages for Kavuras Yisrael. And we learn each day Le'il Nishmat Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Daron V'Shalei Shemek Damo. Next chapter, Tnuchas Haguf HaYadayim. Tzarech HaMispalel Lakuf Ma'ates Rosho Sheyu Einev Lamata Derech Anava. When davening Shemoneh Esreh, the person davening should bend his head a little bit so that his eyes are downwards in a humility fashion. You should consider yourself as if you're standing in the Beis HaMikdash itself. You should then intend and direct your heart towards the heavens. The Kabbalistic teachers have praised those who daven with closed eyes. But someone who reads from a siddur is obviously an optimal performance as well. And many of the Acharonim write that when it's preferable to daven out of a siddur, because this will have greater kavana for you during tefillah. Lagabe hayadayim, what about your hands? What you do with your hands? So, because of our Rambam, the Rambam writes in Hilchos Tefillah, Perek Halacha Daled, she'aniach yodav al libo kashen kfusos, yad yamin al yad small, that you should put your right hand over your left hand and place them over your heart, folded sort of one on top of the other. Like a servant stands in front of his master, with fear, with awe. And it's also paskin in the Shulchan Aruch and the Arizal. And most people hold that it depends on what the custom of the place is. So where the Rambam was from, whether it was Spain, Morocco, even Egypt, so people stood in front of kings and officers the way he wrote. But in other places, they stood different ways in front of leaders. So l'mashal, ba'artzos Edom nahagu la'amod b'yadayim shilavos. So in Roman times, in the lands of Edom, they would stand with their hands sort of interlocking or overlapping. But in perhaps more Arab countries, they would stand with their hands behind their back, as an indication that, and it's a hint, that we have no hands without the permission of the person in front of whom we are standing, meaning the leader. So nowadays, so aside from what the Rambam has written, so when we stand, either if your hands are folded over one another, or if they're holding the shtender, or they are holding the siddur or leaning on the siddur, this is also considered a way of kavod. You shouldn't stand with your hands in your pocket, or just sitting with them on your lap, or just kind of dangling, because this is not how you would stand in front of honorable people. Many people have the custom to shake back and forth during davening, what we call shuckling. The Ramah writes, this is what one should do, ideally, because this is an expression of the feeling and the fear that we have to grab onto when we daven. We want the entire body to be part of this service of davening. Kedivrei haPasuk, kol atzmosai tomarna Hashem mikamocha. Pasuk in Tehillim and Lamed Hey, all of my bones are giving this expression. Luma zos hashlok sav. So the Shnei Luchos Habrus writes, she'ein lehisnadeid betfila. He says a person shouldn't shake back and forth betfila. Lehepach davka hamida below tenu magbiras hakavana. He says no, that maybe it's better standing still brings back more kavana. V'od she'ein derech kavod la'amod leisno'eya. It's not bakavadik, it's not honorable to shake and move around while you're standing. V'im yavo adam lifnei melech basar v'dam v'yaschal lisnadeid b'chol gufo hari hamelech yigashen miyad me'al panav v'im kein vadei she'en linagach b'tefillah. if a person would go in front of a king and you would start shuckling and moving back and forth and making all these sort of motions or gyrations, so the king would chase you out. He would kick you out. So first, certainly this is not the way to daven. One shouldn't stand during Shemoneh Esreh this way. So what does it mean that it's good to move a little bit, move your limbs? This is maybe while we're learning Torah or while we're singing praises and songs. But during the Shemoneh Esreh, in which we stand in front of the king, and this is a deep innermost experience, this is not appropriate for us to be swaying back and forth. Only our lips should be moving and nothing else. And since there is a one on whom to rely for any minhag, whatever gives you the greatest kavanah, whether it's shuckling, whether it's not shuckling, whatever gives you the best kavanah, that's what you should do. But it's the person who is normally shuckling like people do, and you should probably make an effort to see what you can do without shuckling. So, to shuckle or not to shuckle, that is the question. Interesting thing, but just think that if you were standing in front of an honorable king, would you be behaving that way as well? But if it helps a person concentrate, if it helps a person focus on the davening, then certainly tova alecha baracha. So, Shev bracha for listening to us today. Thank you so much. Please continue davening for Chayei Tzvah Yisrael, for Shalom Chol Tzvei Yisrael. Turn of our hostages, look for us, Yisrael. Daniel Shimon Rav Derdon V'Shol Shem Kam Tavo. Again, we thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you here next time.